Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be doing my long overdue April reading wrap up. I meant to get this video out like a week ago, but life happened, so here we are. I'm hoping that there's at least one person that still wanted to see it even though it's late. So for the month of April, I read 7 books, one of which was disappointingly enough a DNF. So we are going to get into all of the details, but before we begin, don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, give this video a like, and turn the notification bell on so you never miss an upload. And I just want to thank you again for clicking on the video. We'll just get right into it. So the first book that I read for the month of April was Nocticadia by Keri Lake. Nocticadia was a highly anticipated read for me at the recommendation of many other book talkers and booktubers. However, I was staying away due to the size of the book. This book is almost 700 pages and I was just so intimidated by it. The preface of this book, it's a dark academia gothic romance. And you guys, if you like dark academia and you haven't read this yet, what are you doing with your life? Like, please, don't be intimidated by the length. You have to read this book. This was a 4.5-star read for me. And the only reason that I took half a star off was just due to the length of the book. Yeah, it's about, 670 pages long. Okay, brief intermission to say my son and his father are downstairs playing and I've told them to be quiet. However, why do I hear Cookie Monster playing in my ears right now? So if you hear anything odd, that's what it is. I turned my gain down. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so anyways, Nocticadia follows our FMC Lilia and our MMC named Deverick Bramwell, or Dr. Bramwell, aka Dr. Death. Lilia is a college student. She has recently lost her mother in the past couple of years from an unexplained, unheard of illness. Her mother essentially lost her mind, tried to her sister by drowning her, and her mom had worms. Essentially, she would throw up these black worms. Lilia feels like she's lost her mind because everyone is telling her that she imagined it. She imagined the worms. Her mom died from suicide, and that's what the autopsy confirmed. But she's positive that her mom had this mystery illness. So one day in college, she's assigned to write a paper about an illness from your imagination, and she writes about what happened to her mom. But she writes about it as if she made it up, obviously. And her teacher at her current college puts her in touch with a different school, and essentially the MMC Deverick, Dr. Bramwell, studies this illness that her mom died from, and he has a lab at the college where he studies this illness. She ends up getting a scholarship to this very prestigious Ivy League school because obviously they want to know more about the paper she wrote and how she knows about this illness, and she is determined to learn more about what killed her mother. So that is what leads her to go to this university called Nocticadia. And that's all I'm going to tell you. Obviously there's a student-teacher trope in this book, but the dark gothic vibes are just immaculate. I've never read a book like this before. The whole premise of the book was just super interesting. She gives a disclaimer at the beginning that, you know, hey, I made up this illness. I know Dr. Bramwell's lab would never pass regulation in the real world. She took a lot of liberties for the sake of the story, and it worked. I loved everything about it other than the length at 670 pages. And then I feel like maybe the emotional depth of the romance could have been explored a little bit more. It was a little like insta-lusty for me. The relationship did become pretty deep, but I wish I would have seen more dialogue related to the emotional connection of the couple. But other than that, this book was almost a 5-star read for me. I can't wait to look into Keri Lake's backlist and get into more of her works. I think the next one I'm going to read will be Anathema. And I've also heard really great things about that. So yeah, this is Nocticadia. Next up, we have Lightlark by Alex Aster. Okay, so I waited again forever to pick up Lightlark because it is in the third person. And I'm a first person girly. And so I remember I had a coworker recently, maybe like last year, she brought this to work and she kept trying to get into it and couldn't, and she told me the reason was because it was in the third person. And I remember back then reading the first chapter and saying, oh yeah, no, I can't do this. But after seeing Alex Aster all over TikTok promoting her new book, Summer in the City, I love her personality. I think she's so sweet. I love how TikTok really helped get this series off the ground and kind of gave her a name as an author. I'm pretty sure she wrote like in the acknowledgments something about book talk. If I can find it, let's see. I swear she did. Oh yeah. Yeah, so on her little acknowledgement, she said, most of all, thank you to Book Talk. Lightlark is here because of you. Every video, every comment, every share, every friend I've made there, thank you. You are more powerful than you know. I can't remember what I was thinking posting that video about the concept of an island that only appears every 100 years, but I'll never forget the shock that millions of people wanted to go on this journey with me. We did it. That just gives me chills when I read it because obviously I'm a part of the BookTube community here. I'm not part of Book Talk yet, but that might be coming in the near future. But I love anything dealing with the power of community. I think our community here is super powerful. I think the Book Talk community is super powerful. And just seeing that a bunch of individuals coming together to support an artist made such a difference for her journey. Made me want to pick up this book and give it a try and support her. I'm so happy that I did. I gave this book 4 stars. So I'll just read the little part on the back because if I try to summarize it, I'm going to mess it up and I don't want to give away any spoilers. So it says, welcome to the Centennial. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of the 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray. So I pronounce it Isla, I think because I have a friend whose daughter's name is Isla and it's spelled like this. But when I was listening to the audiobook, they pronounce it Isla. Yeah, Isla, which is just hard for me to remember. So I guess I'll call her Isla. There's my son. But anyways, I really loved this story. I loved the world building. I loved the concept, high stakes game, essentially. So if you like Hunger Games, if you like Serpents and the Wings of Night, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Serpents and the Wings of Night. If you like a high stakes competition or a deadly trial, then you will really enjoy this book. The plot twist at the end of the book had me like throwing the book across the room. Like I was just reading along, kind of thought I knew what was going on. And then this plot twist just like hit me in the face out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting it. It was just so out of left field. Like she got me. You got me, Alex. You got me good. The romance, I wanted more romance. Romance is my favorite genre. This is considered like a romantasy, and there definitely was romance, but I wanted more. I felt like every chapter I was waiting to see Grimm reappear. I was waiting for dialogue between Isla and Grimm, and it was definitely left with little crumbs sprinkled throughout, but when we got it, it was so good. I expect to see more of the romance play out in the second and third book in this series. I'm a little bit scared to pick up book 2 just because there is now a love triangle that has developed, and I'm Team Grimm all the way. I don't want to read about her being with, what's his name? Oro. Oro. O-R-O. I don't want to read about her being with Oro because I'm Team Grimm. But I like this. I've seen this book get a lot of hate on Book Talk, just saying that she comes from a rich family and she doesn't know how to write, and this just shows like anyone can publish a book, and I just don't agree. I thought the writing was great. I thought the world building was really unique and understandable. It's not high fantasy. This is a romantasy book. Like I said, if you enjoy books like The Serpent and the Wings of Night, The Hunger Games, if you enjoy books like Phantasma, anything like that, I think that you'll really, really enjoy this. And I love Grimm. So yeah, that was a 4-star. Next up, we have a thriller called I Found You by Lisa Jewell. I read this for my in-person book club that I'm in with some of my friends and coworkers. This was selected by someone else in the group because if it were me, we would be reading romance. I am not the biggest thriller reader, but I am trying to get more into the genre. If you have like a 5 or 6-star thriller recommendation that's a quick read, will have me on my toes, hard to put it down, will blow my mind, please leave it in the comments down below because I need you to hit me with your best recommendations. I am trying to get more into the genre. But for I Found You, I really enjoyed it all in all. I gave this book a 3.5 star, which is still a really good rating for me. It was well done. I liked that it was very digestible. The chapters were short. We were following alternating timelines, which typically I don't enjoy alternating timelines, but in this book I liked it. I really liked it. I could see as the book continued on that there was going to be a connection between the characters in the two timelines, and I really enjoyed seeing that connection build and come together towards the end of the story. So basically this is about a mom named Alice, and one night she's kind of out walking her dogs. The weather's not very good, and she sees a man sitting out on the beach, and she notices, she kind of ignores it at first, and then she notices that, you know, the next day he's still sitting out there, he hasn't moved. And so she ends up bringing him like a jacket and a snack, and then he's still there hours later. So eventually she invites him into her house to stay in her little guest house, or her guest suite. And this guy does not remember anything. He doesn't remember how he got there. He doesn't remember his name. He doesn't remember anything about himself. And so the book is just kind of following him and Alice and him staying in her house. And then the other timeline takes place 23 years earlier, and it involves a family that is on summer vacation in the same town, the same beach town that Alice from the first timeline lives in the current time. So they're vacationing there 23 years earlier, and there's a young boy that becomes very obsessed with the teenage daughter in the family, and he makes everyone really uncomfortable, yada yada yada. And as the story continues, you learn more about this mystery guy that's obsessed with the teenage daughter and how he's connected to the story taking place 23 years in the future with the mystery man on the beach. It's really good. If I'm looking off to the side, it's because I did make a few notes that I'm just referencing. 3.5 stars. The reasons I counted off was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it start to finish, but it didn't have that wow factor. I felt like the thriller aspect of it was not super thrilling. I mean, there were some creepy and odd things that happened throughout the story, but I felt like Lisa Jewell throughout the story was kind of leading us up to what the end would be. Little by little, the plot twist was unraveling throughout the book, so that when you finally found out the connection between the characters and you finally found out who the mystery man on the beach is, you weren't that shocked. You know, like, I knew at the end of the story, okay, he's either this person or this person, and he ended up being one of the two that I had thought that he was. So yeah, I just took off because the plot twist was just kind of meh. The thing that I did like about it was there was a little romance subplot in there for the girlies like me who enjoy romance. And I think the romance subplot is what kept me kind of going back to it and picking it up again. And because I had to read it for book club and I DNF'd last month's book club pick, so I had to get through this one. But I enjoyed it. This is the second book I've read by this author, and both books were very good. So all in all, not bad. And again, leave me a recommendation below if you have a good thriller that I should be ordering or picking up. Okay, so then we go into Boys of Tommen. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm working my way through the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. And in April, I finished books 2 and 3. So we have Keeping 13 was book 2 and Saving 6 was book 3. I'm not going to talk too much about these because I don't want to give any spoilers. I will say the first two follow Johnny and Shannon, and so this was kind of wrapping up their portion of the series. And then I was really excited to go into book 3 because it follows Shannon's older brother Joey. He's the second oldest brother in the family, but kind of acts as the oldest because the actual oldest brother kind of skipped out on them and left town a long time ago. So it follows Joey, and you know, Joey's a very complex character that struggles with addiction and really fell into addiction due to the stress caused by having to be the protector of all of his younger siblings in an abusive home. And I really just enjoyed reading about his relationship and how he's navigated his struggles. I'm currently on book 4, which is a continuation of Joey's story with his girlfriend. And I love this series, you guys. You either love it or you hate it, you know? And is it toxic? Yes. Is it messy? Yes. But this is real life. You know, these are struggles that people actually go through. And I enjoy reading about an imperfect character. We're all imperfect. We're all flawed. Everyone has skeletons in their closet. And I really enjoy reading about these complexities and these difficulties that people go through because this is real life. And for me, you know, I rated both of these books 5 stars. And it is because for me, a 5-star book is a book that causes almost like this visceral reaction. I experienced every possible emotion when reading these 2 books. I laughed, I cried, I felt so deeply for Joey and Shannon and Johnny. And I just think if a book has the ability to evoke that type of reaction out of you, I mean, I feel like I'm friends with these characters. I feel like I wake up and I'm worried about them and I have to rush and get the book so I can see what happens next and make sure that they're okay. These books have had a very profound, impactful meaning to me, and that is why I gave them 5 stars. Is the writing the best thing I've ever read? No. But Chloe's ability to write about deeply complex characters going through really serious, complex issues is why I continue to read this series and why I love her as an author. So if you haven't read Boys of Tommen, essentially it follows characters on a high school rugby team, their relationships. They go to a school in Ireland, but Joey is older. He goes to a different school, and in these books he's older than 18, so it doesn't really apply to him. But if you enjoy like a sports romance with the type of emotional writing that you would see in something like Magnolia Parks, then you might really like this series. This is labeled YA, but it does have open door spicy scenes, so read at your own risk. They're pretty detailed. She says it's for 16 or older. I don't know. I think these are very mature books with mature themes and a lot of spice. So I would say these are adult romance reads. Only thing I didn't like is that Keeping 13 is, you can't tell because this is one of those like floppy books. So you can't really tell how long it is, but this book is almost 700 pages. So I took off for the length because that's 2 books that were almost 700 pages that I read this month, and that's just a lot. I did write in total, I read 2,900 pages, so that's a lot. I know 7 isn't as many books as I typically read, but they were long ones, so I feel like that counts for something. So we have one more book, and then we have the one I DNF'd that I'll speak about briefly. Book number 6 was a love song for Ricki Wild by Tia Williams. Tia Williams wrote 7 Days in June, which I've yet to read yet, but I read this as a buddy read with one of my subscribers, Amanda's Booktopia. We both realized we had this book on our physical TBR and decided to read it together, and we both rated this book a 4-star. For me, I really liked our FMC Ricki. I really like her. She is based out of Atlanta, and that's my neck of the woods. I live right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So it had a lot of aspects of like the Atlanta culture, the Georgia culture, when speaking about her family and the way that they see her and the way that they see life. I related a lot to just being a Georgia native. And then she was just, I don't know how to describe it. Her personality was infectious. She was like a light. And I enjoyed reading about her. I enjoyed being inside of her head. Without giving too many spoilers, the only thing that I didn't like was this book has a magical component to it. And that's all I'm going to say. If you've read like the 7-Year Slip, then it's kind of like that. If you liked the 7-Year Slip, then you probably would really like this. It just threw me off because I thought I was just reading a romance. I did not know there was going to be a magical element to it. And I was very kind of surprised, and it kind of threw me off just because I wasn't expecting it. Romance was really good. The spicy scenes were spicing. Can attest to that. She ends up moving to New York, and you get a lot of that like New York culture. It speaks about like the period of Harlem, 1920s culture of that location, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I definitely want to read 7 Days in June now. I gave this book a 4-star. I just didn't really like that magical component to it. Other than that, I really liked the book. So our last book I read on my Kindle, and that was First Time Caller by B.K. Borrison. I hate this so much because that was a highly anticipated read for me. I picked it for my book club on Fable, and I just knew that I was going to love it. For those that don't know, First Time Caller is supposed to be a play on Sleepless in Seattle. Essentially, it's about a little girl who calls into a radio show to try to get help for her mom's dating life. and they end up, her mom ends up coming on the radio and speaking with the host of the radio show, and ends up going on the radio more than one time and becomes part of this series that goes viral, in which they're trying to find her mom a partner. And would you guess what happens? She ends up falling for the host and vice versa. It was just all right. I DNF'd it. Only reason why I would ever DNF a book that I chose for my book club is because no one really joined my book club. I started this book club on Fable. One person from YouTube joined, and that was Callie. So Callie, if you're watching, I want to say thank you. But other than that, no one else. I mean, there's like 5 people on there, but other than Callie, no one really said anything. No one really interacted with the book. And so I have decided that I will be putting a pause on my Fable book club until my channel grows a bit more and I have more interest. But yeah, I found it very boring. I found it very predictable. I found it very cheesy. I didn't really find the FMC or the MMC to be very likable or gravitating characters. And I just have too many books on my TBR and on my shelves that I really want to get into to be reading a book that is not pulling me in. I typically will read about 150 pages, and if I'm not in by that point, we're done. And I didn't used to be that way because I'm such a completionist. But I mean, in the first 100 pages if you're going to like a book or not. So yeah, I just thought it was just a fluffy, predictable romance. And I hate to say that. One thing that I did like about the book was that it followed a single mother. And I really liked the relationship between the mother and her ex, the little girl's father. I thought it was very healthy as a co-parenting relationship. And I don't think we get to see that in books very often. I think often it's like a toxic relationship with the ex. So as someone with divorced parents who never got along, it was very refreshing to see that kind of showcased in a book about how you can have a healthy co-parenting relationship. But other than that, unfortunately, it just fell kind of flat for me. So that is it, you guys. Those are the 7 books that I read in the month of April. I'm off to a really good start on my reading month for the month of May. I already have a few books under my belt. So if you want to see my reading wrap up next month, if you enjoy bookish videos where I choose my TBR, do reviews, then please consider subscribing if you've watched this far. I also do some ASMR on my channel. And I've created a second channel to do more ASMR because that seems to be what a lot of you guys are subscribing for, is the ASMR. So that channel, it's the same as this channel name, just with ASMR on the end. So it's Mads Reads ASMR, and I will have my second channel in the description box down below. I've only posted 1 video so far, but I plan to post a couple more this week. I'm going to film one right after this. So again, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here, for your continued support on the channel. I have a lot of exciting ideas in store for the channel, and yeah, I hope you guys have a great reading month. Don't forget, you are loved and you are cared for if no one has told you lately. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and a good week wherever you are.